So welcome to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking the chaotic, physics-defying career of a Japanese racehorse named Dream Journey.
Yes.
We are going to explore the biomechanics of running at a severe size deficit, the psychological warfare of a volatile athlete, and how proving just a single genetic concept can completely restructure the economics of a massive breeding dynasty.
The historical footprint here is just massive. I mean, you have an athlete who really had no business surviving the physicality of the JRA graded stakes level, let alone actually dominating it.
Right.
He broke the fundamental models we use to evaluate thoroughbred potential. And if you want to understand the eventual rise of the Staygold dynasty,
Which completely defined an era of modern racing.
exactly. To understand that, you have to start with the horse that served as the prototype, the one absorbing all the initial friction.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start with the sheer mechanical disadvantage of his frame. When Dream Journey won his first major title, he weighed in at just 416 kilograms.
Yeah, it's really hard to overstate how small that is.
Even factoring in the variance we see across different international racing jurisdictions, stepping onto the track at that weight in the modern graded stakes era puts you at an extreme structural deficit.
It's a staggering data point, honestly.
Yeah.
The average weight for top-tier JRA contenders is routinely pushing past the 480 to 500 kilogram mark.
Which is a huge difference.
Oh, massive. When you are giving up nearly 20% of your body mass to the rest of the field, the kinematics of how you move through a pack just have to change entirely.
Because of the stride length, right?
Right, exactly. A larger horse has a built-in mechanical advantage there. They cover significantly more ground per singular muscular contraction, so they can establish their position in the pack purely through mass and stride efficiency.
The source material paints this really vivid picture of how he compensated for that. And it really reminds me of a cyclist stuck in a low gear.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Instead of sweeping, ground-devouring strides, he relied on this explosive, high-cadence turnover. His legs were just a blur.
And the aerobic capacity required to sustain that kind of high-cadence turnover over, say, 2,000 or 2,500 meters, it is completely off the charts.
It's exhausting.
Right. Mechanically, he had to fire his muscles far more rapidly than his competitors just to cover the exact same distance. That means higher oxygen consumption, faster fatigue, and a much, much smaller margin for error.
Because if he gets bumped.
Exactly. If a horse like that gets bumped or loses momentum, re-accelerating takes an immense toll on their energy reserves.
So given those physics, it's a miracle he wasn't just bullied out of position by the 500-kilo horses entering the first turn.
It really is.
But the source material heavily suggests he survived the pack entirely through sheer psychological intimidation. You touched on this earlier, the famous dictus I.
Well, what's fascinating here is the pedigree connection to that aggression. The dictus I is a trait passed down from his maternal grandsire, a horse named Dictus.
It literally changes how the eye looks.
Yeah, it's characterized by the iris being unusually small, exposing the sclera, the white of the eye all the way around.
Which looks terrifying.
It does. In a herd animal, which horses are, that kind of intense, wide-eyed stare mimics predatory behavior. He didn't behave like a prey animal navigating a herd.
No, he acted like an apex predator looking for a fight.
Precisely.
His jockey, Kenichi Ikazura, went on record joking that Dream Journey was actually more difficult to manage than his younger brother, Orfevre.
Which, that's saying a lot.
It really is. Considering Orfevre's infamous reputation for basically trying to throw his jockeys into the rail after crossing the finish line saying Dream Journey was harder to handle is a terrifying benchmark.
It speaks to a deeply ingrained neurological volatility. But, volatility alone doesn't win graded stakes.
Right. Chaos is just chaos unless you channel it.
Exactly. The true art of training and riding a horse with that specific mental makeup is finding the razor-thin line between breaking their spirit and just letting them run completely out of control.
And they found that line?
They did. During his juvenile season, they managed to harness that absolute fury into pure forward momentum.
And the manifestation of that is the Asahi High Futurity Stakes.
Yes, the biggest juvenile race.
Right. So he comes into the race after a Fuyu Stakes win and a solid third-place showing in the Tokyo Sports High Nisei Stakes. But the Asahi High is where the high-cadence mechanics we just talked about were completely weaponized.
Oh, that race is unbelievable to watch.
Approaching the final stretch, he's sitting near the absolute back of the pack. The visual of that race is incredible. He weaves through traffic and essentially swallows the entire field in the span of 3 furlongs.
The closing speed he generated was mathematically absurd for his size. I mean, to accelerate past elite juveniles while carrying a 416-kilogram frame requires a power-to-weight ratio that is rarely seen on the turf.
It's just explosive.
Right. And that victory didn't just secure him the best 2-year-old colt title. It was the breakthrough moment for his trainer, Yasutoshi Ike, securing his first top-tier victory and really setting up the foundation for his own legendary career.
So you look at that performance, and the raw data suggests you are looking at a generational talent who is just going to completely sweep the classic season.
I think so, yeah.
But put yourself in that position. Imagine peaking so early, everyone thinks you're the next legend, and then you just disappear. Because the moment he turned 3, he hit a massive wall.
He really did.
The results became incredibly inconsistent. Now, the common narrative when an early peaker fades is that they simply lost their step. But analyzing his split times, his athletic output didn't suddenly regress.
No, not at all.
You just had the horrible luck of running headfirst into a historically brutal generational buzzsaw.
The context of the generation you are born into dictates everything in this sport. Dream Journey entered his prime classic years at the exact moment Vodka and Daiwa Scarlet began their absolute stranglehold on JRA racing.
2 absolute legends.
We are talking about 2 of the most dominant, paradigm-shifting mares in turf history. Against a generation anchored by Daiwa Scarlet and Vodka, the leaders simply didn't collapse. So he was trapped in a tactical purgatory, tremendous ability, but entirely shut out by the pace architecture of his era.
Wow. So he spent years stuck under that ceiling. And a slump like that usually consigns a horse to the what-if category of sports history.
Usually, yeah.
But breaking through that ceiling didn't require a physiological change. It required a structural change in the saddle. The entire trajectory of his career hinges on age 4, when jockey Kenichi Ikazuya regains the mount at the Yasuda Kinen and then subsequently captures the Kokura Kinen.
The synergy between horse and rider is often overstated, but in cases of extreme volatility, it is the only variable that matters.
Yeah.
Ikazuya didn't just understand the tactical requirements of a turf race, he understood the psychological triggers of this specific bloodline.
But here's where it gets really interesting. He had actually been the regular jockey for Dream Journey's mother, Oriental Art.
Yeah, that's such a crucial detail.
He already had the generational muscle memory. He knew the quirks, the flashes of temper, and the precise amount of pressure you could apply to that pedigree before they completely unraveled on you.
That generational continuity is the hidden variable in breeding and training. Ikazuya knew he couldn't fight Dream Journey's natural instincts.
Right. You can't just bully a horse like that.
Exactly. If you try to wrestle a horse with the dicta-sai into a conventional tactical position, you will expend all their aerobic energy before the final turn.
So what did he do differently?
Ikazuya's mastery was in the quiet compliance, letting Dream Journey settle where he was comfortable at the rear, keeping him entirely relaxed despite his chaotic nature, and just trusting that the explosive low-gear cadence would be there when called upon.
And that tactical stabilization sets the stage for the age 5 season. He finally matures from the erratic juvenile prodigy into the definitive Grand Prix powerhouse.
Which brings us to the Takarazuka Kinen.
Yes, the absolute apex of this. Facing an elite field, Ikazuya executes the game plan flawlessly. He parks Dream Journey at the back, entirely detached from the pace battles early on.
Just biding his time.
Then, swinging wide to avoid traffic, he unleashes that frantic, rapid-fire stride. He just systematically runs down the entire field to capture his first major in 2.5 years.
It was a massive vindication, not just for the horse, but for the methodology of the Ike stable and Ikazuya's handling.
But the ultimate test of that late charging style, especially for a horse so small, is the Arima Kinen, the year-end Grand Prix.
Oh, definitely. Navigating the tight corners and the massive pressure against the strongest field assembled that season.
The 2009 Arima Kinen is a masterclass in tension. It literally plays out like a cinematic script.
It really does.
You have Buena Vista, this brilliant 3-year-old filly, who is quickly becoming the new face of the sport, launching a massive sweeping move to take the lead.
Yeah.
And to everyone watching the grandstand, she has the race completely locked down. Her stride is massive. Her momentum is perfect.
Statistically, the race should have been over. Buena Vista had the mechanical advantage and the tactical position.
But then Ikazuya brings Dream Journey off the final corner. And you see that high cadence turnover just eating up the turf.
It's so visually striking.
He is entirely dwarfed by the horses around him. But stride by frantic stride, he closes the gap on Buena Vista. He catches her right at the shadow of the wire to win by half a length.
Yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, sweeping the Takarazuka Kinnin and the Arima Kinnin in the same calendar year is one of the rarest feats in JRA history.
Yeah.
Earning the best older male horse title in 2009 wasn't just a late career resurgence, it was a total recalibration of his legacy. He proved that an undersized, psychologically volatile horse could out-tactic and out-kick the absolute titans of the sport.
But, bodies eventually break down. The physical tax of running in that low gear eventually catches up to the hardware.
It's unavoidable.
When you are exerting that much kinetic energy to match the stride length of larger horses, the wear and tear on the joints and tendons is exponential. By ages 6 and 7, the leg issues mounted.
Yeah, the explosive acceleration began to dull.
And that fierce predatory fire started to burn out. He retires after the 2011 Takarazuka Kinnin, completely missing out on the dream matchup against his rising superstar brother, Orfevre.
The physical decline was inevitable given his biomechanics. 31 starts, 9 wins, and the Grand Prix sweep is a phenomenal resume.
Unbelievable career.
But from an industry perspective, his retirement wasn't a conclusion. It was the activation of a highly uncertain genetic experiment. Moving to the breeding set presented an entirely new set of mechanical and economic hurdles.
Let's dive into the actual logistics of that, because the source material points out his size became an immediate liability as a stallion.
Oh, a major liability.
Right, because breeding isn't just about matching pedigrees on paper.
Yeah.
There is a physical reality to the process.
Exactly. The physical mechanics of a 416-kilogram stallion attempting to cover mares that frequently weigh 500 kilograms or more, it's structurally dangerous and practically difficult.
It just doesn't line up.
Right. And syndicate managers are inherently risk-averse. If a stallion has difficulty safely mounting mares or requires extensive assistance to complete the breeding process, the syndicate will naturally limit his book.
Makes sense from a safety perspective.
He simply physically could not handle the volume of mares that a standard-sized stallion would receive.
So you have a drastically reduced sample size of offspring. The math is instantly working against his ability to establish a legacy.
But despite that...
Yeah. The strike rate of the foals he did produce was staggering. And the ultimate vindication of his bloodline on the global stage comes through his daughter, through 7 Seas.
Such a great story.
In 2023, she travels to France and finishes 4th in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. To see a direct descendant carrying that same unrelenting fight successfully navigate the heaviest, most demanding turf in the world. Fans really felt like Dream Journey's spirit had finally conquered the international stage.
It's a deeply poetic extension of his legacy. But if we analyze the cold, hard economics of the Japanese breeding market, Dream Journey's most vital contribution wasn't his own progeny.
No.
No, it was what he proved about his sire, Stay Gold, and his damn Oriental art.
The legendary Stemic Cross. Stay Gold over a Majiro McQueen mare.
Which, this raises an important question. How does one undersized horse drastically alter the commercial valuation of an entire bloodline?
Right.
Before Dream Journey, the market perception of Stay Gold was entirely pigeonholed. Syndicate buyers viewed Stay Gold's offspring as grinding, late-maturing stayers.
And in the breeding economy, late maturing means delayed return on investment. If a horse can't be competitive until they are 4 years old, the owners are eating years of training fees without seeing a purse.
Precisely. The market doesn't pay premium stud fees for late bloomers. They pay for early, precocious speed that can win juvenile stakes and classic prep races.
Which is exactly what he did.
Right. When Dream Journey exploded in the Asahi High, he completely shattered the late bloomer myth. He proved that the Stay Gold line could produce elite 2-year-old speed.
And
then, by sweeping the Grand Prix races years later, he proved they also retained that legendary stamina and durability. He demonstrated the absolute maximum bandwidth of what the bloodline could achieve.
The economic ripple effect of that is massive. He essentially acts as the proof of concept that causes the market valuation of the Step Cross to skyrocket.
Totally.
Without Dream Journey doing that heavy lifting, shedding blood and absorbing the initial skepticism, the breeding sheds might never have fully committed to the Stay Gold dynasty.
We might never see the investment that leads to Orfevre.
Or the absolute chaotic brilliance of Goldship.
He was the ultimate beta test. He proved the viability of the genetic cross, he proved the specific training regimen required to manage the volatility, and he forged the blueprint for Akizo.
Oh, because he learned how to ride that temperament.
Exactly. Because Ikazoe survived and mastered Dream Journey, he was the only logical choice to be handed the reins of Orfevre. Dream Journey literally laid the tracks for the Triple Crown that followed him.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.